That's why Parish Construction and Roofing, the Breeze Dream Foundation, and WAFB are partnering to provide one capital area family with a brand new fortified roof. Visit WAFB.com/contest to enter the giveaway and view official rules and eligibility requirements. Because stronger homes build stronger communities.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana,
is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Busy day for the Lakers as they begin rebuilding the roster after LeBron James's exit. Acquired center Walker Kessler from the Jazz in a sign and trade. LA is sending picks to Utah. Will sign Kessler 4 years, $130 million. He is that A-list center that Luka Doncic asked the Lakers for, notes ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
So you look at the upgrade and how he fits alongside Luka Doncic. I think they couldn't have done better in getting, a guy they could actually acquire who will fit alongside him. Scouts I talked to today who say, listen, Luka is going to be perfect with Walker Kessler. He's going to roll off of those screens. He's going to dunk. He's going to protect their backside on the rim.
Lakers also agreed on free agent deals with guards Quentin Grimes and Colin Sexton. Day 1 NHL free agency, Maple Leafs major move. They signed 2-time Stanley Cup champ goalie Sergei Bobrovsky, 3 years, $21 million. Team USA faces Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32 at the World Cup tonight. Harry Kane scored twice. He broke Pele's all-time World Cup goals record. England beat Congo DR 2-1. Will play Mexico in the round of 16.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Thursday, we'll continue to react to all the happenings around NBA free agency, plus break down the U.S. men's national team's game against Bosnia. It's on Sportsman, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Off and running, welcome in. Wednesday edition here of After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. Braxton Rizzuto, Cassie Spazzali along for the ride. And glad to have you along for the ride here as well. We're halfway through a holiday week here as we embark on the 4th of July this weekend. Jam-packed show here for you, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, obviously here on this Wednesday. Shea Dixon, he'll be here in, call it 13 or so minutes. Jaden Anding, supposed to announce his commitment on the Rival Summer Signing Day series today. Didn't, postponed it. We'll ask Shea the latest there, and of course touch on a whole bunch of other tidbits regarding LSU's recruiting as the dead period's here, but that doesn't actually mean with commitments and things of that nature. It's really heating up as there's 3 big ones for LSU coming up here in the coming days. So we'll get to that with Shea. In that same vein, On3 today did an awesome piece regarding NIL and the month of June and spoke to a lot of general managers across the Power 4 leagues anonymously, and they revealed some pretty interesting things about the numbers, the market, and positions in this class, one of which that's been under the microscope for LSU. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show as well. Plenty of Saints talk and whatnot. And we will talk a little bit of World Cup today, as the United States actually does have a game at 7 p.m. We'll save that for later in the show, but we will get to that. So let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
I want to start, though, with the New Orleans Saints because you're in that lull right now in the NFL where you're waiting for training. Many camps have broken. You're waiting for training camp to get underway. And this just really is talking season for the NFL. Ben Solak over at ESPN today released 10 bold predictions for the 2026 NFL season. And the Saints are involved in this. I won't bury the lead anymore. Benjamin Solak's bold prediction involving the Saints is that New Orleans will win the NFC South. I have thoughts on that, and actually a couple disagreements with maybe some things that Ben does say. I think the New Orleans Saints are more than capable of winning the division this year and making the playoffs for the first time in 5-6 years now. That to me is absolutely on the table, and to me even is a fair expectation. But what I will say is, just as an aside, really, I don't really know if this can be classified as a bold prediction anymore. It feels like there's a lot of people starting to get on the Saints train as a team that can win the division, and for many different reasons. But Benjamin Solak, that's a national NFL voice who is hitching his wagon to the New Orleans Saints. So when something like that happens, we're obviously going to talk about it. It was interesting, he noted in his write-up that there were 3 teams tied at 8 and 9. So while the Saints actually finished 4th, you could really say they finished 2nd, technically, in the NFC South because you had that many tied. So going from 2nd to 1st instead of worst to 1st, but you get to do it with the 4th place schedule. And that's really intriguing because it's not just what the Saints have built around Tyler Shuck, right? It's not just the expectation that everybody has for Tyler Shuck. Goes 4-1 down the stretch. From week 9 on, he was your starter. Put forth some really nice numbers with a mash unit around him from an offensive line, from a wide receiver position, and he had 0 running game to speak of. And Tyler Shuck put the team on his back, made winning plays, and he did so behind a really good defense. And that's really where Solak started this, was talking about Brandon Staley's defense down the stretch for the New Orleans Saints. And look, man, I understand that, and they were really good. He notes the Saints were 13th in DVOA a season ago, 6th in success rate. Only the Seahawks and Broncos allowed explosive plays at a lower rate than the New Orleans Saints. Those were 2 really good defenses. But if you're going to look at that, and you're going to use that as a reason to point to and go, man, one reason the Saints are going to be really good and this year is that defense. Look what they did down the stretch. You also have to point to the teams that it came against down the stretch. And that's kind of just been the catch-22, if you will, when talking about this New Orleans Saints defense. I mean, if you look at Tyler Shuck's starts for New Orleans, that started in week 9, you see the Rams, and then the rest of it is just teams with losing records. So that has to be factored in there. The other thing is when he signs off here on his write-up, says Saints look like an ascendant team to me. They have a young quarterback good enough to win with sharp coaches on both sides of the ball, good offensive line play, and enough young bets at the skill positions for the offense to do more than just Olave. They're a few blue chip players away, but a measly NFC South, 4th place schedule, division title achievable. He also mentioned in there that he trusts Brandon Staley to field another top half of the league unit. That's where I look and I go, okay, but are we sure? I think the New Orleans Saints offense is going to take strides. 100%. I firmly believe that. I believe Tyler Shuck takes another step. By all accounts from his offseason, it's been fantastic. He said that. Kellen Moore has said that. They have really focused on being able to watch his own film. He's been a tireless worker. They asked Tyler Shuck his off-season plans, like for this little 6-week stretch that they're in the middle of right now between minicamp and training camp. Like, hey, what are you going to do? You finally have some time off. And the first thing out of his mouth is, well, Drew Brees set up a throwing thing for us in San Diego with all the receivers. So we're going to head out there and really, do that. Maybe watch some movies, maybe play some golf. But really, we're going to go throw the football around. Like, biggest jump year 1 to year 2. You can even argue he didn't even have a full year. So this is probably really kind of, year 1.5 for Tyler Shuck. Chris Olave, Jordan Tyson. You invested 3 picks in wide receivers, including Tyson. What you did along the offensive line with David Edwards. You bring in Travis Etienne. Like, they're going to be better offensively. And it's reasonable to think they take a jump. Defense is actually where I am concerned. Because of what you lost. And one area you failed to add in. Demario Davis played over 1,000 snaps for the Saints a year ago and was awesome. Over 130 tackles, highest mark in his career. There was just an article about him the other day where he spends over $1 million keeping himself in shape. Like, yes, he was aging. They decided to get rid of him. That's fine. You can maybe replace some production. Like, I think Caden Ellis can have a good season. I don't think Caden Ellis is going out there and having 130-plus tackles like Demario Davis just did. But what you really lose there is the leadership. That matters. Yes, Cam Jordan is back, and that's huge. But it's kind of the stuff that Demario did off the field that makes me worry a little bit about that unit. And then obviously, yes, his production. Alontae Taylor, that's a big loss too, man. That's another guy who played over 1,000 snaps for the New Orleans Saints a season ago. Another guy who is steeped into the culture, leadership aspect, things of that nature. That is concerning. Now, I do believe that Jonas Sanker can fit very well into that star role, right? Where Taylor excelled, slot corner, all of that. I think that transition can be fairly seamless. Especially you still have Justin Reed and others, veteran guys on the back end to play the deep safety positions. So that's fine there. But the other angle of this is the secondary, where Mickey Loomis, Kellen Moore, they both said it post-draft. They were hoping to add a cornerback in the draft, and the board just didn't fall for them the way they wanted to. So you're going to run it back with Kool-Aid McKinstry and Quincy Riley, and there was a lot left to be desired there. There is a lot left to be desired there with your young corners. They're going to have to get better. You added a veteran in free agency. It's fine. But those guys are really going to have to get better. So what I look at is the Saints, how you replace Demario Davis, leadership and production. You're going to have to use a bunch of guys to really replace their production. It's going to be spearheaded by Caden Ellis. But the other thing on the back end of that is pass rush. And we talked about this the last time I filled in for Matt, where we broke down, do the Saints have enough pass rush? And yes, I think that they do. But it's really going to have to be on full display to maybe make up a little bit what you lack at cornerback. They have the makings of a good defense, but I think it's premature to just say, oh yeah, with everything they lost and a failure to really add a difference maker at corner or a potential difference maker at corner, I think it's premature to sit there and say, I have no doubt they will be a top half of the league defense, because a year ago, in the first half of the season, they were atrocious defensively. Down the back half, when the schedule lightened up, they were much better. They're going to have to put the much better part together through the course of the whole season, and they're going to have to do so without linchpin players that have been a big part of success in New Orleans. So can they win it? Yes. Do I think that's a fair expectation for the Saints to win the division? I do. But I lean more towards it being done offensively right now at this point in the offseason than I would defensively. We'll have more on that because there has been an odds change for the New Orleans Saints when it comes to win total, division, and all of that. So I want to circle back to that and get into more of how the division sets up potentially for the New Orleans Saints as well in tandem with them potentially winning. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. Right now, we're going to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He will be with us. Talk some recruiting. It's been a busy day with some news around LSU. We'll get the latest from Shady next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources. If you are a business owner, if you're an HR manager, a VP, an ops manager, if you're the person in charge of hiring at your job, at your place of business, and you're having trouble finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. And I want to remind you, Glow Resources, they're exceptional when it comes to skilled blue-collar workers and also white-collar divisions. Remember, Glow Resources has a full professional placement division. So we're talking about office administrators, executive-level assistants, assistant controllers, plant managers, scheduling assistants, basically any type of office job. Accounting, HR, marketing, managerial, supervisor roles. If you're having trouble finding those people and sometimes hard to fill roles, Glow Resources specialize. They recruit nationwide. For example, they had a Baton Rouge company that was looking for an engineer. They found the employee in Florida to work the job in California. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online today. GLO, glowresources.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 5-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
At Parrish, we take...
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Official visit weekends, those are in the books. Recruiting dead period, but recruiting never actually sleeps, and neither does Shea Dixon. That's why he joins us every week here on AFR. Normally Tuesdays, couldn't make it happen yesterday. Good enough to bump and join us today. Shea, we appreciate the time as always, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Moose?
I'm doing fantastic. Short week here for all of us, but no shortage of topics, which is always a good thing. All right, Shea, let's kind of dive right into it, and we'll start with Jay Nanding. He was supposed to announce today on the Rivals Summer Signing Day series on the YouTube channel around 12:30, And he didn't. He postponed his announcement. What's the latest you can tell us there?
Yeah, and really, he's got a top two of only LSU and Ole Miss, and he had only visited Ole Miss one time, and there has not been much buzz out of Oxford about him potentially going there. Obviously, his brother Aiden is on the team right now at LSU as a cornerback. His injury was a big talk in the spring with depth. He stayed here, didn't transfer or anything like that. And then they've got the number one tight end in the country committed from Ruston, and Ahmad Hudson, and a handful of other offers out. So I think this might just be Jaden and his camp kind of ironing out all the details. It'd be a bit surprising if this took a turn into some other direction in the 11th hour. But yes, he was debating announcing today, and then he locked it in with us, and then he said he wasn't quite ready yet. So it's almost one of those, I think, any minute things. I think by even tonight, if he put out if Hayes tweets out a graphic tonight that Jaden Andings committed to LSU, it would not shock me. So I don't think that's one where a lot of teams are pulling him in different directions. I think it's more just them crossing the T's and dotting the I's here down the stretch.
All right, so we'll look forward to that. So you said as soon as tonight, potentially. We won't hold you to that, obviously, Shay, but as soon as tonight. So it doesn't really sound like there's anything to anything to really worry about there with Jaden Anding.
It hadn't seemed that way. Okay. Now, obviously, you would have loved to have him commit at 12:30 as planned, but he's, like I said, with that much stock invested in Ruston, with his brother on the team, with them really putting this much into his recruitment, and with no safeties committed, he's been a priority for him. So I don't think that they're going to turn away from that, just because he's delayed it a few hours. But we're going to keep tabs on it.
Let's move to Thursday, Shay, and I know a guy that y'all put in some predictions to for LSU was Davion Jones. We've talked about him plenty here on this show. Seems like there's some South Carolina buzz now around the North Carolina prospect. What can you tell us there with Davion Jones?
Yeah, this is one where I think you're looking at in the 11th hour what is, and Davion is originally from South Carolina, what is kind of the home area team do. And South Carolina's ponied up in a big way on the NIL front right now. I mean, remember the name Josh Dobson, who everyone thought would go to LSU, and then maybe it was A&M. He's trending to South Carolina here in the end. So from what I've gathered, Moose, and this is just me putting the pieces together, I think when Davion Jones called all the teams to inform him of where he's going, South Carolina said, okay, sit tight. And within about 24 hours, there was a new offer out there to the East Coast four-star prospect, to which, unless we see LSU make a massive move here on the NIL front, and I know they've been in talks with Davion and all of that, but when he announces tomorrow, if things were to go as they were right now where it stands, he would wind up picking South Carolina, which would be a definite reversal of the direction he was going, let's call it just 24 hours ago. I mean, Monday night, this one pointed directly at LSU, and they were gearing up for an announcement on Thursday. It was a big reason he was going to announce at the end of the month. He pushed it up, made his pick, and then I think he kind of had another South Carolina come at him one more time, and that might be enough to get the local team over the hump. So we're going to monitor it, but I have a feeling here if things continue as they are, that he might end up with the Gamecocks.
Seems like a lot of home schools have been able to do that here in the NIL era, Shay,
Yes.
where they're just able to come in the 11th hour with a little bit bigger bags. Just modern recruiting, you deal with it. That leaves Greedy James, though. Greedy James, of course, is still committed to Texas at the moment. He's going to make an announcement, though, on Thursday, and that one seems pretty heavy in LSU's favor. You correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you are correct there. And I would say that anytime a kid makes an announcement and he's committed to a school already, it's probably not good for the committed school. But I don't want people to carry that over into Jalen Brewster or Easton, any of these other guys who are committed and feeling out their process. But Greedy James is someone we knew. I mean, he made official visits to LSU and Notre Dame, and then he went to Texas on the final weekend. And even then, there was some buzz around LSU, but then it really heightened after that. This is a kid coming out of Manville, so it's a massive program over in Texas. And Corey Raymond, look, Texas has him committed as a safety. That's where he's ranked. as a 4-star, but Corey Raymond has recruited him at corner and has kind of done that from the start. And I've mentioned before on the show, his dad, Greedy James's dad, is from New Orleans, graduated from St. Aug. His uncle graduated from St. Aug. So he's got Louisiana ties here that are more than, not I'm going to say more than enough, but are more than just how did they flip a kid from Texas? How are they going to go about and do that? Was it just money? No, it's, I think, one, development. I think this is a kid who's buying into the Corey Raymond DBU philosophy, and the other is having those connections to Louisiana. Kind of made that official visit, as he told us, kind of really comfortable for him, his parents. His uncle was on the visit too, so you had a couple St. Aug grads on that visit. And this is one where I think Texas had to shift and go ahead and they added Brandon Sherrard today at corner out of the Pearland area, right outside of Houston, Shadow Creek. But because of that, I think it's kind of drives home the reality that Texas does not expect to be able to keep Greedy James. And when he announces tomorrow, I fully expect the pick to be LSU, and that would give Corey his 2 cornerbacks, and then we see if they add any more from there.
I wanted to ask you about that specifically with the secondary. So that would give Corey 2 cornerbacks. Let's say they land Anding and they don't land Davion Jones. It gives them 1 safety. Shay, there, you're expecting to lose Ty Benefield, obviously, after 1 season in the NFL draft. Marcus Cooley will be out of eligibility. How much do they want to add in the safety position here in this class? Because let's say they just get Anding, that gives them 1 so far.
Yeah, I mean, they'd like to add 2 because obviously they have been after Davion Jones. So I don't know if they come back around to someone else. Obviously, you can. They're going to wait out and see what Jones and Anding do here shortly, and then you can pivot and go from there. But I'll say that at corner and safety, these are 2 rooms that even you and I could look at it as they go through spring ball, but like I've talked to enough people that they feel comfortable about it. I mean, they signed Jace Thomas out of Destrehan, and he's a backup right now that they have a lot of faith is going to grow into a starter. You look at what they did in the portal. I mean, they went and got Delane's little brother. He was a top 100 prospect that signed with Ohio State a year ago. So guys like that aren't even going to start for you. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Deshaun Spears, right? Like maybe this year we get a taste of those guys. They come in as the first guy off the bench, and then after that, they can work themselves into starting roles. And I say all that to say that there isn't an anticipation that anybody you're signing out of high school in this class would have to come in and start for you right away. So you get a guy like Anding, and maybe you add 1 more, and you feel good about just continuing to build depth. I think that's kind of been the play at corner and safety here late in this cycle is how do we add just depth pieces that we can feel good about, that we can coach up, and then after a couple of years or a year or 2, they're out on the field. So much like a Spears was coming out of Denham Springs. So I would think 2 at each spot, but let's see how it unfolds here because we know in this era they aren't going to take guys just to take them because you can always go back to the portal. So if you feel good about your depth, we'll see how they navigate it moving forward. But I do think 2 at each corner and safety was the goal, and I would presume that kind of remains the goal.
Talking with Shay Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Of course, you can get him on Twitter at Shay Dixon with us every week here on AFR. All right, Shay, what can you tell us with Jalen Brewster? Seemed to be a lot of smoke around him today with LSU kind of maybe being the biggest threat to Texas Tech. Is there anything new, anything impending there with LSU's pursuit of the number 1 player?
Yeah, so let's start. The number 1 player in the country, number 1 D lineman. This is what Lamar Brown was a year ago. Lamar Brown was right here in Baton Rouge. Brewster's been committed to Texas Tech for a while now. And that very first week in Coach O got hired back, he was put together an official visit. And I think that really is when things clearly started to heat up. And Florida was the other team. Texas has been a team that's kind of been mentioned in the main group of teams that are threatening Texas Tech here for a potential flip. But over the past couple of weeks, it's become more evident it's LSU versus Texas Tech at this stage. And so evident that a couple of Texas sites were writing yesterday that he's expected to, if things continue down this path, flip from Texas Tech to LSU. And everybody was kind of like, why are y'all talking here? You're not involved in this. But hey, the Longhorns are going to take shots at Texas Tech when they get them. So it appears that's what they're doing. I don't think anything happens today. Steve Wiltfong right now in the Bengal Tiger, you can go read about it, caught up with the Brewster camp, and they went on record about things. And had a lot of high praise for LSU program, Lane Kiffin, Ed Orgeron, Kevin Peoples, who's led that recruitment as LSU's defensive tackles coach. And we see, and look, I'll say that I think within the next couple of weeks, I'll expand it to that Brewster says one way or the other, hey, this is what I'm doing. But even as his dad said in an article today, like I said, we have on the site, that's not going to stop anybody from calling him, whether he stays with Texas Tech or flips. So they're going to have to deal with this through signing day. And that's just the nature of being the number one overall prospect. But I will say that it's this drives home kind of that Billy Glasscock, who's LSU's new GM under Lane Kiffin, this NFL approach of they are putting a lot of value into premium positions, whether it be quarterback, receiver, edge rusher, D tackle. Those kind of, when you look up at an NFL draft, like who's getting picked in the top 10 to 15 picks. Well, it's those positions, offensive tackle. And there really hasn't been a bunch of offensive linemen out there this cycle that really warmed up to LSU. So I think once they realized, hey, Josh Dobson is getting a little pricey, even though he's a corner, you're good at corner. Like you've got DJ Pickett, you've got Woodland, and they love Haven Finney, and you've got some other guys there. So you're fine there. You don't need to pay a guy a lot of money to come in and sit the bench. So that's that's something Billy Glasscock has talked about is they're not going to pay. Even Lane Kiffin has said, we're not getting into NIL discussions with guys who are asking for top end type of NIL money if they're not coming in and impacting us in year one, because Moose, what happens? You come in year one, I've given you a lot of NIL money. You're standing next to me on the sidelines all year, and then you hit the portal. Yep. And now I've given you all this money. I've developed you. I've done all this, and it's all for naught because somebody else gets the benefit from it. So we saw them pull out of the Josh Dobson race. They're not pulling out of the Brewster window. And we know Texas Tech's got some money. Having his commitment's been a big deal for them. Certainly they've been dealing with a lot with all the Sorsby stuff. But if he does wind up making a move, I think it will come in the next couple of weeks. And right now, it's very clear it's LSU or Texas Tech. And good time to have Coach O on staff, I guess, to help chip in with Kevin Peoples there. But at the end of the day, I think this is one. When you're the number one player in the country, most of your conversations at the end up between an agent and a guy like Billy Glasscock, who's your GM.
Last one for you, Shane. I'll kind of just leave it pretty open-ended for you. Anything else you really need to cover with the flips? I know there's a lot of guys that LSU has been in on trying to flip them. Any more traction, any updates with some of the big names?
The other big name I'm going to watch this month is Eastern Royal. And coming out of Brother Martin, number one receiver in the country. And we know that LSU's been after him heavily. We know that, look, what Lane Kiffin did in the portal, do you think in his first recruiting cycle that he'd love to lose the number one player in the state to another SEC team, to Sark, someone he's had a long relationship with, and again, a receiver, so someone that Lane could utilize in his offense, as talented as Royal, is not someone you want to let go. And we've talked about it before. Texas got him committed 2 days before Lane got hired. So seeing him make that official visit, a bunch of unofficial visits, all that to LSU is good. Now you're just wondering, does he flip? And a lot of people think he might, and that it could come this month, but we don't have anything from his camp yet by way of a date or what could possibly be going down there. Florida is in the mix, but I still lean LSU. I think come signing day, whether it is this month or later, I still stand by that. I think Eastern Royal winds up at LSU, and for a lot of reasons, but one being that I just don't think LSU is willing to or wanting to miss out on a guy like this in state in that first recruiting cycle. And what can you do to go out there and get him? And I think that's what they've been exploring, just like Jalen Brewster here over the past few weeks. Royal's a difference maker. If he came in, he's not sitting on the bench. He would play right away for you. So he's one of those guys where even if it is top NIL dollar, you continue on with it, even more so given he's a Louisiana kid.
He is Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Of course, get him on Twitter X at Shea Dixon with us every week here on AFR. Shady, we appreciate the time as always, man. We'll talk next week.
You got it, brother. Enjoyed it.
Absolutely. That is Shea Dixon. His time very much appreciated. Grab a break, but first, Matt, about Relief Windows.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. When we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their number one product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at reliefwindows.com.
All right, we're going to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. We will go around the SEC. It's a Wednesday edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Stick around.
AFR.
DuplessisPools.com, DuplessisPools.com, DuplessisPools.com. Go to DuplessisPools.com and start building your dream pool today. DuplessisPools.com. Hat tip to my friend Derek Duplessis and the great staff, as for the second consecutive year, Duplessis Pools was named a top 50 pool builder in America by Pool and Spa magazine. As a matter of fact, Duplessis Pools was the only pool builder in the state of Louisiana to receive that honor. DuplessisPools.com is the website, DuplessisPools.com. Yesterday was awesome. Me, Erica, Drew spent part of our Sunday cooling off in the pool. Might have had a cold Bud Light or two. It's a great way to spend those summer days. Great way to have parties, showpiece. That dream can be your reality as well. But start at DuplessisPools.com. You can design your pool online. You can finance it online. Pay for it right now. It's DuplessisPools.com. Check them out online. It's DuplessisPools.com.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Tell you every day, better coverage for less money. And man, my friends over at Insurance Network of Louisiana are crushing it for Louisianians on their auto insurance right now. Listen, if you have not had anyone shop for your auto insurance lately, you got to call Insurance Network of Louisiana. My goodness. They got some top-rated companies, Geico, Progressive. They're doing awesome work right now. This was an amazing story that I heard. They wrote one last week, saved the client $2,911 annually. They had a high auto rate with State Farm. They smashed it with Geico. They had another one save $1,476 annually with Progressive. They had Allstate and switched. Y'all, I tell you all the time, if you're just auto-renewing your insurance, man, you're probably overpaying and you're underinsured. Let Insurance Network of Louisiana help. lainsurance.net.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Continuing here on a Wednesday edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Go to yourgoodwood.com. Still a lot that we want to get to here. Man, one unit on the New Orleans Saints that maybe isn't getting enough talk this year that really hampered them a year ago. We're going to dive into that special teams unit a little bit. We're going to dive into that and kind of, man, have they made the necessary improvements? We'll do that at the top of the next hour. Looking forward to that conversation. And then something I found really interesting, CBS Sports kind of did a college sports year in review where they looked at the athletic programs that performed the best. So I want to kick that around a little bit there at the bottom of next hour also. Just kind of found that intriguing when I was just perusing some things today. So kind of a little light, fun summer content there. For now, though, we're going to go ahead and go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Auburn Tigers.
4-star defensive lineman Marquise Evans has committed to Auburn out of Spain Park. That's in Hoover, Alabama. Chose the Tigers over Tennessee, Florida, Miami, and South Carolina. He committed in the Rivals Summer Signing Day special. Number 35 edge in the country, 6'5", 270-pounder. He is the 25th commit for Auburn's 2027 class.
The Texas Longhorns.
Shay alluded to it there in our previous segment, but Texas landed 4-star cornerback Brandon Sherrard out of Pearland, Shadow Creek. Chose Tigers over LSU and Oklahoma. Also did it on the Rivals YouTube channel in the Summer Signing Day series. 6'1", 180-pounder. He was in Austin this past weekend for his final official visit. Number 158 prospect overall, number 21 cornerback, and the 21st ranked player as well out of the state of Texas. Brandon Sherrard to the Longhorns.
The Missouri Tigers.
Missouri picked up a commitment from 2027 wide receiver Trey Britton III out of Belleville up in Michigan, 3-star. Chose Missouri over Miami and the home state Wolverines. 5'11", 170-pound slot receiver, totaled over 1,400 all-purpose yards and 14 scores in his junior season. Number 93 wide receiver in the Rivals industry ranking. 11th player ranked out of Michigan.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Brian O'Connor in Mississippi State baseball landed transfer righty Thomas Allen out of Louisiana Tech. That came Tuesday evening. Freshman year a year ago with the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. 5-3 record, 19 appearances, 18 of those out of the bullpen, 49 strikeouts and 48 in a third. Conference All-Freshman, second-team freshman All-American by the Writers Association, now Mississippi State Bulldog.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
My papers are stuck together. Now I see why Matt crumples them up and throws them at the camera. Blake Grimmer is returning to Tennessee baseball in 2027. He is officially withdrawn from the Major League Baseball draft, redshirted in their 2024 National Championship season. Hit 283 with 13 homers and 36 RBI in his first full season as a starter a year ago. Will most likely be the starting first baseman for Tennessee here in 2026. There you have it. That is around the SEC. This is after further review. Musso in for Moscona. Speaking of Moscona, a quick word from him on Parish Restoration.
AFR is brought to you by Parish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens, commercial or residential. As a matter of fact, Parish Restoration, I love the process, by the way. If you go to the website at parishrestoration.com, you can see videos of their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. So you see exactly what it looks like. Very cool. But they have fogged, over at Parish Restoration, they fogged one of the largest buildings in the entire state of Louisiana. So it doesn't matter if it's your office building, your church, whatever it may be, school, or your home. They can even fog your car. Maybe your car has a weird odor, musty smell. Maybe you bought a used car from a smoker and you can't get that smoky smell out. This will do it. They'll come while you're at work, fog it. By the time you're done with work for the day, boom, you're back in a clean-smelling, fresh-smelling vehicle. It's Parish Restoration.
Learn more at parishrestoration.com. Parishrestoration.com. Do business with someone you know. Parishrestoration.com.
All right, thanks, Scone. Even when Scone's on vacation, he's really still here. You kind of can't escape him. He's kind of just always there lurking around. Bringing us the live reads as always here when I'm in the chair. Later in the show, I kind of touched on this earlier, but give you a little bit more. We're going to do this at 5 o'clock on 3 today, and Shay kind of brought up some of the numbers too when we had him on in the previous segment. On 3, Pete Nakos had a comprehensive piece about spending, NIL spending in June, and he got multiple Power 4 GMs to go on record, even giving numbers and talking about how those numbers are being used and how money is being used in different ways here, resetting of the markets, shutting down recruitments, all of that. It was fascinating. So I'm really excited to talk about that. And there is a couple of LSU angles in there as well with numbers being mentioned that I'm excited to dive into as well. So if you have to leave, come back. We're going to do that straight up 5 o'clock here on AFR. And that's a conversation that I'm actually really looking forward to. I read it and I was super, super intrigued because any time you can get, and obviously the GM spoke with anonymity, but anytime you can get those type of guys who are in the fire in all of this, go on record and talk about their own experiences with players that they were recruiting, things of that nature. That's always insight that you don't normally get. Pete Nakos was able to get it. So we're going to dive into that again, 5 o'clock. If you have to leave, make sure you're back here for that because, as I said, it was fascinating. Right now, we'll grab a break. We'll come back on the other side and close out hour number 1 of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
Here on the Gulf Coast, a wave says a lot. It says hello. It says thanks. It says we care. Shouldn't banking feel the same way? A friendly wave. A familiar face. Backed by all the convenient tools you need to make banking a breeze. We're Gulf Coast Bank and Trust. Give us a wave and coast into better banking.
This is what you're looking for.
People think it's all about game day, but the real work happens in the off season. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
We trust the lake.
Hi, this is Beth Tarina. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Brought to you by Rouse's, official supermarket of the Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. 4th of July, right around the bend, y'all. Saturday, we celebrate 250 years of America. Red-blooded American fury. You want to go get burgers and dogs and beers and Cokes and everything you get, apple pie, America. You go to Rouse's. What are Rouse's colors? Red and white. I know we need some blue in there, but the point is, it's Rouse's because it's America. Great local retailer. You're getting ready for the 4th of July. Everything you need. Chips and dips and dogs and burgers and buns and drinks and everything. Get on by Rouse's, the official supermarket of America. They're the official supermarket of the Saints. It's Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Back here at Further Review on a Wednesday, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Musso in for Moscona. Some sad news yesterday and last night when it was announced that legendary Southern University baseball coach Roger Cador passed away. He was 74 years old. I was not fortunate enough to ever get to meet Roger Cador. I think I spoke to him on the phone one time whenever we had him on this show, but that was very brief. But Roger Cador was one of those guys that the stories were never in short supply. I mean, Roger Cador was and is Southern University baseball. He played baseball at Southern. He coached the program for 33 years, won 2 HBCU national championships in that time, made 11 regionals in that time in the NCAA tournament, and impacted countless lives. Obviously coached Ricky Weeks, who is the most legendary Southern player of all time. And you just never met anybody, and you will never meet anybody that has a bad thing to really say about Coach Roger Cador. And it's not just obviously the impact that he had on Southern and Southern baseball, which again, like the accolades, man, they speak for themselves. But what he was able to do for HBCU baseball in general and the city of Baton Rouge, I think obviously live on. Like if you know college baseball, if you follow college baseball, you know about Roger Cador. I mean, this is a guy who founded the Urban Invitational, which I believe it's under a new name now, but it still exists today. It's a early season tournament that showcases black colleges and universities. It's nationally televised on MLB Network. That Roger Cador did that. So, I mean, just a guy with a profound impact all over the sport of college baseball, all over HBCUs. I mean, is Southern and is a legend in every sense of the word. And I mean, I think you see that when you look at the tributes that have been pouring in. I mean, I know I saw, forgive me, I think it was on Jacques' Twitter, Jacques Doucet from WFB, obviously, spoke with Coach Paul Maneri, who coached against Roger Cador, Coach Skip Burtman. Like it's that type of impact that he had in that sector. So look, obviously a legend when it comes to Southern University, but a legend and a pillar in college baseball and a legend and pillar in the Baton Rouge community. Coach Roger Cador, he passed away 74 years old. Obviously, may he rest in peace. And, his legacy is still being felt here today, and it will for plenty more years to come, just given the impact that he had on college baseball and the state of Louisiana. Again, Louisiana native. He's from New Roads. So, sad news, man, there. A true legend and a guy that just you never heard anybody say a bad thing about. And you know what? you won't from here on out either. That's just the kind of guy he was. Roger Cador, may he rest in peace. All right, putting a button here on hour number 1 of AFR. Musso in for Moscona. So we have today and tomorrow, and then we are done for the week. We'll observe 4th of July there on Friday. We'll be back Monday for a full week of shows there, and kind of really just kind of continue getting you in gear. You know, man, on Monday we're gonna be like a week out from, or two weeks out from SEC football media days, I believe. It's practically here. And that's when we'll obviously really ramp up the football discussion so much. Also, next week we're getting you prepared for the MLB draft. So plenty to still come. But today and tomorrow, we're off on Friday. We'll be back on Monday. Matt will be back. See if I can do a little quick math here for you. In 6.5 shows. So he's out all next week too. I should just say that way. So you have me all next week. But I'm looking forward to it. It should be an awesome show. Grab a break here. We'll come back. Sports Center will get you caught up on national headlines. When we get back, we're going to talk a little more New Orleans Saints. One unit that really maybe should be under the microscope a little bit more. There's been some additions to try and fix the problems. But, man, this one really cost you at times a year ago. Talk about the Saints special teams unit here when we're back after Sports Center to kick off hour number 2, as well as a college sports year in review to get to in hour 2 as well. It's AFR. Stay tuned.
After further review.
Jordan Faber here with some exciting news. Faber Automotive has officially arrived. We're proud to introduce your new hometown dealership, Faber Chevrolet GMC. That means more inventory, better deals, and the same great local team. Now backed by the trusted Faber family name. Whether you're shopping or servicing, you'll feel the difference from day one. Allow us the opportunity to earn your business.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Visit us in St. Francisville or online at FabryChevrolet.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. In the wake of LeBron James's decision to leave, the Lakers started the process of remaking their roster. In a blockbuster trade, LA acquired center Walker Kessler from Utah in a sign and trade. LA sending picks to the Jazz. Kessler gets a 4-year, $130 million deal from the Lakers. In addition to getting a premier center for star Luka Doncic, LA also agreed to deals with free agent guards Quentin Grimes and Colin Sexton. ESPN NBA analyst Quentin Richardson.
Anytime you got a guy like Luka, and we've seen what he does when he's healthy and he gets into the playoffs, he's a game changer. He can go, supernova and lead his team. But now they're getting him the supplemental parts and the assets that he needs to be able to go forward. If they can get some depth in that bench, the Lakers could be looking like a problem moving forward.
Big free agent splash by the Maple Leafs on this first day of NHL free agency. 3-year, $21 million contract with two-time Stanley Cup champion goalie Sergei Bobrovsky. Team USA seeks to win its first World Cup elimination game in 24 years tonight against Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32. England beat Congo DR 2-1 and will face Mexico in the round of 16.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Thursday, we'll continue to react to all the happenings around NBA free agency, plus break down the U.S. men's national team's game against Bosnia. It's on Sports from 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN 2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Off and running. Welcome in. Hour number 2 after further review here on a Wednesday, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Get to yourgoodwood.com. Musso in for Moscona, Braxton Rizzuto, Cassie Spazzali along for the ride, and glad that you are along for the ride as well. We're 1 hour in the books, 2 more here to go, and still a ton to get to as we roll along here on this Hump Day edition of AFR. I want to start this hour, like we did the first hour, with some discussion about the New Orleans Saints. But this time, really honing in on a group that often doesn't get a lot of hype, a lot of coverage, a lot of discussion, unless things are just going very poorly. That's the special teams group. And if we're all being honest with ourselves, and I don't really think this is going to be tough for many of you to be honest with, the Saints special teams in 2025 stunk. They were not good. It was to the level that it cost you games a year ago if you were the New Orleans Saints. You missed a key field goal in the opener against Arizona that could have impacted the outcome of that ball game. Did the same thing in week 2 against San Francisco. Do we even need to talk about week 3 against the Seahawks? My goodness. You had a punt return, a 95-yard punt return touchdown against you. The very next possession, there was a punt blocked. You missed a field goal in that game. Before you looked up, largely due to special teams, you were down 20-0 after 1 quarter. Both Falcons games were impacted Week 12, that was Blake Grupe's swan song with New Orleans. He missed 2 field goals. If he makes both of those field goals, you're tied at 16 heading into the fourth quarter. Instead, you were down 16-10 and ultimately lost that one 24-10. You go to week 18 against Atlanta. Charlie Smith misses a field goal. Second quarter in that game, you end up losing by 2 points. It cost you games a year ago. They were bad. It's not that they didn't make changes midseason to try and improve there. I mean, Blake Grupe, we just mentioned it. Blake Grupe, in the 11 games that he appeared in, graded out on Pro Football Focus 41.8 in field goal kicking. 41.8. He made less than 70%. Had a long of 54, was just 50% from 50-plus yards. It was time to go. And they made that move, and they went to Charlie Smith. And you know what? Blake Grupe, good for him. He got the change of scenery. He went to the Colts. He didn't miss another kick all year. Good for him. You go to Charlie Smith. Charlie Smith was better. 75%. Graded out 76.3 when it came to field goal kicking for Pro Football Focus. Like, he was much better. But, again, clutch performance there. You missed that field goal against Atlanta in week 18. You end up losing by 2 points. That's significant. Now, in hindsight, that loss got you the fourth place schedule that might actually help you win the division here this year. So, we're not going to overreact there. But again, you were bad. So you go to make the change midseason. You do. You're better. Smith, 3-year contract. Boy, the Saints weren't done. You fast forward to this offseason, they asked add Tanner Brown for the kicking competition. We'll come back there. We'll come back to that. How about punter a year ago for the Saints? Man, that was real bad too. 37 players attempted a punt in the NFL a year ago. 37 players. Kai Kroger graded out 27th of those 37 when it comes to Pro Football Focus. In yards per attempt per punt, he was 30th. Net yards per punt, he was 31st. Punts down inside the 20, he was 29th. It was awful. So he's sent packing, and the Saints bring in Ryan Wright, who, by the way, if you're curious, came from the Vikings, 4-year deal, graded out the 6th best punter in the NFL per Pro Football Focus a year ago. He was awesome. He's here to be your punter, so it seems like you have that fixed. But all of that stuff matters. Field position, obviously, you get points when it comes to kicking a field goal, but field position matters in points too. And you were just really bad in both of those areas. Now, the Saints have made the improvements, or at least it looks like they have. Let's talk about the kicker battle a little bit here, because, it was interesting. You saw Charlie Smith go in there, make 75% of his kicks a year ago when he got the opportunity, and he gets the contract, and you're thinking, okay, they're rolling with Charlie Smith. Well, nope, they go add Tanner Brown from the UFL. And we touched on this very briefly because it was just odd timing when they added him. It was June 19th, right as they were, right after there, or right, maybe not June 19th, it was a couple days before that. It was the last day of minicamp. So it was June 17th, pardon me. And it's like, well, you're breaking minicamp. You just added all these guys. Now you're off for 6 weeks. That was kind of that was kind of the vein in which we talked about it. But if you really look at Tanner Brown, that addition tells you this is not Charlie Smith's job. Plus, Brown gets a 2-year contract on top of that. So he comes to the Saints from the UFL, was awesome for the Louisville Kings and their run to a UFL championship a year ago. He replaces Mason Shipley, who they signed as a UDFA. But this is a guy who started his career with the Rams after being undrafted in 2023, then went to the Falcons for a brief stint in 2024 before catching on in the UFL. He never attempted a kick in the NFL. So the first one he does will be his first one ever. But it's a powerful leg. This guy made 4 field goals from 60-plus yards across 2 postseason games in the UFL. He was 25 of 28 on the field goal attempts in general over the season, 89.3%. That is certainly what you're looking for in the NFL. Now, that creates a very intriguing battle because Charlie Smith did do some things very well a year ago for the New Orleans Saints in the kicking game. But you can tell with this addition, they're not sold there yet either. How about the return game for the New Orleans Saints? Wasn't great. You go out, spend a draft pick on Barry and Brown from LSU. You're looking to improve there. What's interesting is Mason Tipton actually stepped in and was quite good for the Saints in the return game a year ago after the trade of Rashid Shaheed. He was kind of the guy that really stepped in there in terms of kickoff return. Dante Pettis really took over the punt return role, but Tipton graded out 81 on Pro Football Focus and kickoff returns. Do you have a battle there between him and Barry and Brown? That could be the 6th receiver that you end up keeping on this roster. I do lean a little bit more towards Barry and Brown there just because the Saints have made it known they like him as a receiving option as well, not just the returner. But that's a guy who's arguably one of, if not the best returner in the history of the SEC in Brown. So you addressed there, you addressed that as well. The other portion of this, though, is just your overall special teams play, right? Because, I mean, you really look to this, and Danny Stutzman was your highest graded player on special teams. Jonas Sanker had some really nice moments as well, but Sanker ended up moving into the starting lineup, the safety position after injuries and things of that nature. So special team time was cut down. But Stutzman played 280 snaps on special teams. A quick glance shows you that's 4th on the team. He was tied for the lead in tackles. He was also your highest graded player. Did not commit any penalties. You're going to look for him to be a pretty big addition in special teams too, but also he's probably going to take on a bigger role in game as well. We've talked about the scenario where, man, could you get him and Pete Werner on the field at the same time, 3rd down, and move Caden Ellis into a pass rush role? He brings the best pass rush acumen of any of your linebackers that you have. So does that maybe minimize Stutzman's role on special teams? Possibly. Isaiah Stallbird also had 10 tackles and was a top 10 graded player for them on special teams. Those are really your 2 best over the course of the full season. I mean, I can look and give you Chris Rumpf with 10 tackles, but he also committed 4 penalties. Like there were problems there with him, but he's back, so that's good. I mean, you return your 3 leading tacklers on special team. But the interesting thing there, and this counts really going back to that conversation we were just having about Danny Stutzman, about him maybe getting more action on the field. That's where you get to Anthony Jennings and Tyree Wilson, who you also added in the offseason. And while, yes, they could definitely give you something on the field, when Kellen Moore, this was the last day of minicamp, he was asked the prior day about Tyree Wilson. He was asked the second day about Anthony Jennings and what makes him special. And listen really to the middle of this cut, because that's what really catches your ear.
Yeah, I think obviously strength, stoutness, physical play. I think he's got a really high IQ. You can tell he just processes the game in a very easy manner. I think what's cool is watching him just hop in there and try and find every opportunity he can to help this team. I think the special teams component is kind of cool. Talked about that with Tyree yesterday. These guys are just trying to find roles and find opportunities, which is great. And, he's played a whole bunch of games for a reason because he's a really consistent physical football player.
You love to hear that about those guys coming in free agent and they're trying to make a mark on special teams. That's what you need, especially when you look at the Saints. That's a unit that was quite poor a year ago. Jennings played 194 snaps on special teams a year ago for New England. Punt coverage, field goal block, kick return. He was all over the field. He graded out 66.1, which isn't great, but isn't horrible. He didn't commit any penalties, and he made a bunch of tackles. That's what you need. Tyree Wilson, he played primarily punt a year ago for the Vegas Raiders, but graded out pretty well also. Or excuse me, it was punt return and field goal block. That's where his 83 snaps were split up over there. Can you get him more on kick coverage, things of that nature? If you can, that's a big weapon for you too. As much as we want to talk about the Saints defense, the Saints offense, and that leading to a division title, so will special teams. You have to be good in special teams. You have to be better than you were a year ago because it cost you games. And so far, the New Orleans Saints, they've taken measures this year where you're looking at multiple options at returner to replace Rashid Shaheed. You're looking at multiple options in kicker to ultimately replace Blake Grupe and really give you some stability at that position because it has been a revolving door ever since Will Lutz left. But they have made the moves to be better. And I think that they will be better. And when you're talking about a potential division championship for this team, special teams cannot go overlooked, especially how poor it was a year ago. All right, we'll grab a break. We'll come back on the other side, continue with some NFL talk. Who's on the hot seat? You might say, oh, who cares? Well, there's a couple of local angles there that I do want to explore that kind of impact the New Orleans Saints. So we'll discuss that next here on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Yes, hormone replacement therapy. Yes, NAD+. Yes, BPC 157. Yes, ED treatment. The bottom line is, gentlemen, I don't care how old you are. It's about how old you feel. And do you want to feel like you did when you were younger? Do you want to live a more vital life? Do you want to live a more energetic life where you wake up in the morning, your feet hit the floor, and you're rip-roaring ready to go, where you're motivated to get in the gym, where you have a great libido, where you have great mindset, energy, mental clarity, memory, all that sort of stuff? It's possible. It's affordable. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help you do it. Hormone replacement therapy could be a giant part of that for you. NAD Plus can literally help your cellular optimization to make you younger at a cellular level. BPC 157, tremendous in helping in recovery. Learn more. yourgoodwood.com.
Championships are won with preparation, and so are great roofs.
Coach is tough on us about preparation, and Parrish brings that same championship mindset.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
ParrishBuilt.com.
The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office protects and serves over 132,000 residents across the parish.
Keeping our community safe is our mission, and Rev Fiber plays a critical role in how we respond. Whether it's training in our special divisions, forensics investigations, or fielding emergency calls in our operations center, Rev Business connects our teams in real time, which is why we partner with Rev Business.
Get 6 months free of Rev Business services. Call or click today.
People think it's all about game day, but the real work happens in the off season, and we need a healthcare team
that works as hard as we do.
At FML Health, our Lay of the Lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
We trust the lake.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
After a decade of working in private duty.
Love telling you about River Parish Contractors. rpcontractors.com is the website if you're looking for work, or you may not even know you're looking for work. River Parish Contractors, you need to make this call. Call Big Jake over at River Parish Contractors because they got tons of work lined up. So you want overtime? They got as much overtime as you want. So you never have to. A lot of places want to hire, give you a good rate, but they don't want you to work overtime. Not a River Parish Contractors. They got as much overtime as you want to work. You want to work night shifts when it's cooler? You could do that. You want to work day shifts? Got it. Look, there's no rainouts. They have amazing benefits. They've got PTO. If you're a welder, pipe fitter, pipe cutter, you got to get in touch with my friends over at River Parish Contractors. Call Big Jake or go to rpcontractors.com, rpcontractors.com. Right there in Reserve, River Parish Contractors, rpcontractors.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
NFL offseason means hot seat talk. Right? That's how this always goes. Which coaches are going to get fired this year? We had a lot of them get fired a year ago in the NFL. More than usual. There's always turnover. And there's always hot seat talk. I did find this interesting, though, over at CBS Sports, looking at some of the hottest seats in the NFL. And the reason is because there's a couple of local angles that connect to the New Orleans Saints. Let's kind of just dive right into it, take them a little bit one by one. So the number one coach on this list for the hottest seat is Aaron Glenn. And I think the connection there is pretty obvious, isn't it? I mean, the Saints wanted to hire Aaron Glenn. I mean, they waited, like they wanted to met with him multiple times. They wanted to make that a reality. He was on staff under Sean Payton, played, like all of those things, it made a lot of sense. And that was when the Saints they're really having a hard time parting ways with everything Payton era, right? I mean, think about that. They fired Dennis Allen, Payton era, and they wanted to hire Aaron Glenn, Payton era. And you look at his first season compared to Kellen Moore's first season and the optimism surrounding the New Orleans Saints right now, and it's hard not to feel like Aaron Glenn picking the New York Jets wasn't the Saints dodging a major bullet. Things can change. It's the Jets, so I don't really think that it will, but things can obviously change. But right now, it feels that way, doesn't it? You look up, you go, well, that's a guy who's had 1 year, and people are already saying that's the hottest seat in the NFL. Again, part of that is because, why? It's the New York Jets, and they don't have any patience over there. It's part of the reason they stink. But even it being the Jets, Aaron Glenn's 3-14 record was the worst record ever by a Jets head coach in their first season. The Jets have had some bad head coaches, y'all. Like a lot of them. And it wasn't just the struggles on offense. Aaron Glenn's defense wasn't good. Remember this stat? The Jets didn't have one interception on the year. Their defense did not force one interception on the year. So it was a shared blame. And you could say, oh, well, man, they cut loose Sauce Gardner midseason, Williams, and all that. And all that's true, and that weakened the defense 100%. But they still weren't very good, and they didn't find ways to win games. You didn't have that optimism. Now, yes, look, they've made moves this offseason, and we'll see ultimately how that goes. Geno Smith, look what they did in the draft. Obviously, you end up with the number 2 pick because of this. They added, Omar Cooper, offensively, weapons, tight end, Kenyon Sadiq. So, yes, there's opportunity there. And, of course, with the first round, the second over pick, they get David Bailey. So there's reasons for optimism, I suppose, with the Jets. But again, if you're just looking at this from a Saints lens, to see Aaron Glenn be the coach on the hottest seat potentially going into year 2 feels very much like he dodged a bullet there. The other local angle here for the New Orleans Saints is Todd Bowles, who was here as the number 2 coach with the hottest seat. And I would actually like Todd Bowles to continue to be the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for as long as possible because I think he's a bad head coach. Like, I really do. I think he got to take over a year with Tom Brady which was a gift. And then they went out, they got him Baker Mayfield, and they've been able to take advantage of a weak division with Baker Mayfield. But when you look at his defense, like Todd Bowles' actual defense, and by the way, he's a great defensive coordinator. But it has taken a hit with him being a head coach. By the way, even with Brady Mayfield, he's 35-33 over 4 seasons as the head coach of the Buccaneers, a 1-3 playoff record. But they have not, to the point of his defense has failed to finish in the top half of the league since Tom Brady was the quarterback. It makes an awful lot of sense for him to be on the hot seat. And plus, you just lost Levante David. You lost Mike Evans. I mean, those are longtime veteran players that they have to replace. Yes, you add Reuben Bain, Josiah Trotter, like all those things. You love the weapons with Emeka Ibuka on offense and all those things. But you have Mayfield and going into a contract year now where he could actually be a pretty expensive re-sign. Do you end up having to go a different direction there? You end up with another losing season and you lose the division for a second year in a row. It's very possible that one of the Saints' biggest rivals is looking for a new head coach this offseason. As I said, I'd like him to stay there as long as possible because I don't think he's very good as a head coach, and I think the Saints are getting better with Kellen Moore. So anything that helps the Saints out there, I'm all for. There's a couple more just to touch on here briefly before we hit break because of the LSU connection. Dan Quinn was on this list, and obviously the LSU connection there is Jaden Daniels is his quarterback. And in Jaden Daniels' rookie year, Daniels set records, and the Commanders made it all the way to the NFC Championship game. A year ago when Daniels was hurt, they were atrocious. Now, their defense was also atrocious, which is Dan Quinn's specialty, kind of like Todd Bowles, which is why he ultimately lands on this list. But if Jaden Daniels can really get things back to where they were into a semblance of his rookie year, not saying he's going to be his rookie season, because, I mean, he literally made NFL history. But you would expect the defense with some of those, additions they made, namely Sonny Styles, to improve. So keep an eye on the Commanders and Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels. It could be a really big bounce back. Also, they added Kayvon Chase on too, so another LSU connection there as well. And then the last one is the Cincinnati Bengals with Zach Taylor, who, quite honestly, is lucky he kept his job a year ago. And when you look at this and you look at the AFC North, it's hard not to love the Bengals. You have 3 new head coaches in that league. 3. The only team that didn't fire their coach was the Bengals. Joe Burrow's healthy, and when he's been healthy, they've been really good. They certainly seem to have shorn up their defense as well. And there's a lot of love for the Bengals. And when you look at that and you look at a guy like Zach Taylor, who, look, your offense has never been the problem. You're expecting a jump in year 2 under Al Golden. You went out and got, Dexter Lawrence and Jonathan Allen. You're really trying to shore up. You drafted Cassius Howell, shore up that defense, and you're facing a division with 3 new head coaches in it. Yeah, you better. You better, Zach Taylor, or it is going to be time. It just, you don't want to see, because of course how much we all love Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all those, and Jaden Daniels, but Joe Burrow, you really don't want to see the Bengals continue to waste this opportunity in the window that they have with 2 of the best at their position in the NFL. And so far, they've been doing that. So, yeah, I think not only playoffs for the Bengals, but probably a pretty deep playoff run at this point to save Zach Taylor, just given what they're facing there. So, I just kind of found that interesting there with some of the local ties there when I stumbled upon that list, especially Aaron Glenn and Todd Bowles. Really feels like the Saints dodged a bullet with Aaron Glenn right now. And, one of your chief rivals, the Buccaneers in your division, could be in the market for a new head coach, given on how things look. And when you look at their schedule, too, by the way, that's second place schedule for Tampa Bay. it doesn't seem all that unlikely they're going to encounter a lot of pitfalls. We'll keep you posted on that, obviously, as the NFL season goes along and then when the offseason comes and you see all those decisions made. But always fun to talk about here in July. Before we hit break, Matt, South Point.
Summer is here. Maybe you're looking to upgrade that ride before the family road trip. Get on by South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, or online at southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. Told you for years, they're Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Maybe you need that full-size family SUV. Make sure you go test drive the Atlas. That's what Erica drives. It's the 3-row, 7-seater family SUV. Tons of space to accommodate our family, all our bags, all the beach stuff as well. Go test drive one today at South Point Volkswagen. Remember, you can shop them online, new and certified pre-owned. So if you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, great selection. Say it all the time. They're the largest volume Volkswagen dealer. They move more new inventory, so they have more pre-owned trade-in inventory as well. So make sure you shop their pre-owned vehicles over at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
All right, we'll grab a break. It's a Wednesday edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Go to yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Break here, come back. Little college sports year in review. LSU's position might actually surprise you on the surface. We'll talk about that next here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, as we say, together we roar. Part of the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady Health System. And, I love telling you about Our Lady of the Lake because whenever we talk about healthcare, Our Lady of the Lake understands the two things primarily that people want are access and convenience. And they knock that out of the park. Whether it be at the regional medical center, if it's the lake after hours, if it's any of the specialty services that you may need, heart, stroke, cancer, pediatrics, you want the best. You want Our Lady of the Lake. You can learn more about the Championship Health Partnership, OLOLRMC.com/LSU, OLOLRMC.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar.
So I think we all agree, right, that LSU's sports year was abysmal at times, especially if you're looking at the big three with football, men's basketball, and baseball. All three of them finished with a losing record in conference play. The baseball team set the program record for the most conference losses in a year. And in doing so, you also saw 2 coaching changes for those 3 sports. So I was really intrigued when I saw that CBS Sports did kind of a college sports year in review, in a sense, and ranked the Power 4 teams based on their success. And I've always, over the course of the entire sports calendar, I've always really liked this stuff. Like, what was it they used to do? They might actually still do it, like the Capital One Cup or the NCAA Cup or whatever it was, where they had like a point system and, a school would win it, men's and women's. A school would win it and they'd get like a donation to scholarships and things of that nature or whatever. I always really liked that. And it was always like Stanford or somebody who won it because of how great they were at the Olympic sports or something like that. This wasn't quite that. CBS looked at 6 sports: football, men's and women's basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball. So the big 3, and then the big 3 as well, kind of for the women. And they awarded them points and then for finishes and plugged them into the formula. I won't bore you with the formula, but like, for example, bowl eligibility and an NCAA tournament appearance or /, right? 20 points. A bowl win, you advance, in the NCAA tournament round of 32, 30 points. CFP appearance, Sweet 16 Super Regionals, 45. CFP quarters, Elite 8 College World Series, you get 60. CFP semis, Final 4 College World Series semis, 75. National runner-ups, 90. National champion, 100 points. So they went through all 6 of these sports for all 68 Power 4 schools, totaled it up, plugged it into a formula, spit out these rankings. Texas took home the crown. They were number 1. They had a score of 66.73. Makes sense. Obviously, Texas had deep runs in really, all of those sports. They made Omaha, deep run in the women's basketball, national tournament, the NCAA tournament there. They won the national championship in softball. They have a very, very good volleyball program, so it makes a lot of sense that Texas won it. Alabama was second. Again, A lot of sense. They didn't win a championship or anything, but they made baseball team made it to Omaha. Obviously, Nate Oates' squad, softball team, deep run in Oklahoma City. So it makes a lot of sense. You kind of get the picture here. LSU actually came in 37th out of 68. So they were right middle of the pack. And all of that is due to the women's sports. There's another deep run for Kim Mulkey's squad. Beth Tarina's softball team made super regionals. Like, that carried the day for you. You got 20 points for a bowl eligibility, but you lost. You didn't even get the points for the bowl win. Your basketball team missed the NCAA tournament. Your baseball team missed the NCAA tournament. Baseball, so you normally would count on in something like this to go deep. But because Kim Mulkey, Beth Tarina, and some volleyball mixed in there, you managed to finish middle of the pack. What's very interesting is when you look at the teams that are around LSU, and that's where you really see that middle of the pack actually ain't that great. Except for Ohio State being 34th. Just 3 spots in front of LSU. But outside of that, the teams around LSU, Purdue at 36, Minnesota at 38, Arkansas 39. Mississippi State was up at 33. Not the company that LSU's really used to keeping there. And it just really drives home the struggles you had in the Big Three. And when you look forward to this coming sports academic year, it's hard not to be excited, right? It's hard to not envision LSU somewhere in the top 10 of something like this next year when you do a year in review. With the expectations and the investment that's been placed on Lane Kiffin in the football program and going out and getting Lane Kiffin, bringing back Will Wade, the investment you've seen in that program and his unique way of roster building. Obviously, what Jay Johnson's done in the portal, getting like the top 2 players in the transfer portal, and you're able to really retain your best players. And transfer portal in baseball is closed now. It's hard not to look forward and go, next year could be a little bit different, couldn't it? And then, oh, by the way, Kim Mulkey, still here. You know her team's going to be very good and make a deep run. I'll be very interested to revisit this next year and see if LSU can crack the top 10 with the likes of Alabama, Texas, Michigan, Oklahoma, Georgia, Miami, Tennessee, those teams. Because on paper, it's certainly set up for them too. That's what summer's all about, man. Summer's all about looking forward and going, it's all going to turn around for you here come the fall. That's certainly the hope for LSU, because last year, man, certainly was a really tough pill to swallow, especially in the Big Three sports. All right, we'll grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll wrap up hour number 2 of AFR like we do each day with Tigers in the Pros. That's next. Stick around.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential, think real estate, think Darren James. You want an unbelievable customer service experience? You want Darren James. It's part of his core values for Darren and his team. Darren tells me all the time, as long as I've known Darren, he said, my goal one day is to put myself out of business. I want to create such a turnkey, seamless, easy process for people to be able to buy and sell homes that they don't even need me anymore. Well, as Darren continues on that path in the meantime, he's going to help you sell your home. So if you need to sell your home, you want a realtor that quite literally sells more homes than anyone, you want Darren James. Last year, Wall Street Journal is listed the top 1% of realtors in America, Darren James. So need to sell your home fast for the most amount of money? You need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Hey everybody, Drew Brees here. Over the years, I've learned that the best teams are built on trust, preparation, and doing things the right way. That's one of the reasons I'm excited to announce that the Breeze Dream Foundation and I are partnering with Parish Construction and Roofing. Together, we are committed to helping families prepare for hurricane season. That's why Parish Construction and Roofing, the Breeze Dream Foundation, and WAFB are partnering to provide one capital area family with a brand new fortified roof. Visit WAFB.com/contest to enter the giveaway and view official rules and eligibility requirements. Because stronger homes build stronger communities.
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You can book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, you can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac, you can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, if you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, you can walk in without a reservation, see if you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
All right, putting a button here on hour number 2 of After Further Review. It is a Wednesday edition of the show presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com. Musso in for Moscona, but we'll still wrap up hour number 2 the same way we do each day with Tigers in the Pros. Take it away, Braxton.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, so Kevin Gausman for the Toronto Blue Jays last night went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts with a 4.19 ERA versus the Mets. They go on to lose 3-0. Gausman is now 4-7 on the season. Dylan Cruz for the Washington Nationals last night went 2 of 5 from the plate. Nationals get the win over the Red Sox 8-1. Alex Bregman for the Chicago Cubs last night went 1 of 3 from the plate, 1 home run, 1 run, 2 walks, 3 RBIs. Cubs get the win 9-7 over the Padres. Paul Skeens tonight is on the bump versus the Phillies. First pitch at 5:40. That was your latest on Tigers in the Pros.
Yeah, the Nationals beat the Red Sox like 10-0 today too. That sucked. And
there's a couple games. I think Bregman actually finished earlier today, and then there was a few other ones. But
I didn't enjoy getting those updates on my phone all throughout the day. I had like 10 ESPN notifications, and each one of them was just the Nationals scoring another run. And I was just like,
I don't get those time notifications.
That really hurts a little bit there. It's okay. The Red Sox swept the Yankees over the weekend in 4 games. It was fantastic. I enjoyed that an awful lot. One more thing to add, actually, to that Tigers in the Pros. I don't know if y'all saw this today. Anthony Ianson and Cade Anderson, they're going to be in the same dugout again, which is going to be awesome to see. Both of them have been elected to play in the Major League Baseball Futures game around All-Star Weekend. That doesn't come as a very big surprise, I don't think, to anybody. I mean, if you look at Cade Anderson this year in Double-A, he's actually just making a mockery of professional baseball. He's 8-0 with a 1.2 ERA in 13 starts. He's punched out 99 in 66 innings. Like, if he wasn't in the Futures game, that'd probably be the biggest upset in Futures game history. He's just been astonishing, as he was for LSU in the rotation in 2025. And Anthony Ianson, his former rotation mate, also for the American League squad in the Futures game. He's 2-0 so far on the year with a 1.07 ERA, 12 starts, 50 innings, and 64 punch-outs. So he's been pretty darn good, too. So congratulations to those two guys. They've become the latest former Tigers to participate in the MLB All-Star Futures game. I mean, they joined the likes of Kurt Ainsworth, Aaron Hill, Anthony Renato, Aaron Nola, Alex Bregman, Dylan Cruz, Trey Morgan. Morgan participated in the Skills Showcase back in 2024. Gage Jump, who's obviously now in Major League Baseball. Tommy White, and now Anderson and Ianson joined that group. So really, really awesome honor for those two. And it's crazy to look at. It's crazy to look at the list, for LSU there. And I mean, every one of those guys that we just went through played or is playing Major League Baseball outside of Tommy White, Trey Morgan. By the way, both those guys are in AAA, so they're one step away. And then Anderson and Ianson, who they're not long for the big leagues either. Like, Cade Anderson might be up with the Mariners after the All-Star break. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. You got to get team control and all that stuff in there too. But his performance definitely dictates that. So if you're a former Tiger and you make the Futures game, chances are you're going to play Major League Baseball one day, just looking at the list of guys who have done that. Also, this might sting a little bit for some of you to hear, but I do this every time I see like a roster or whatnot, like for a game like this. I always look for former LSU signees, and there are two who are making the Futures game as well, both on the National League side. Cam Caminetti, you might remember him, was like the top pitcher in the high school class, signed to LSU, ultimately went with the Braves out of high school. It's going very well for him. He's going to be in the Futures game. And then Miguel Cime Jr. is also in the Futures game as well, which, man, he was another really highly touted pitching prospect for LSU in this last cycle, and ultimately took the money and signed with the Nationals, and he has been destroying professional baseball as well. So, look, I mean, those guys never made it to campus, but they also didn't play for anybody else. So they had intentions of playing at LSU, so we'll give a hearty congratulations to those guys as well. But, man, could you imagine both of those players on last year's team for LSU? That would have helped a little bit, considering the issues you had throwing the ball all over the plate, things of that nature, and just your overall issues from the mound. But nonetheless, congratulations to Cam Caminetti and Miguel Cime Jr. They're also in the Futures game, along with former Tigers Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson. All right, we're due for a break here shortly, top of the hour. But first, we'll get Matt's take on Evermore.
Brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore, EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. For elite athletes, for someone who just wants a healthier lifestyle. Maybe you're a parent, you want a healthier option for your children. Evermore is a great option. I would highly encourage you, bottom line, if you're drinking tap water, don't. Bare minimum, filter your tap water. But the best option is Evermore. This is natural artesian water. It's underground aquifers on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, right there in Covington. They dug a well into that aquifer, and I mean, it's literally thousands of years in the making. That's why they call it Mother Nature's masterpiece. That's what they're pulling out of the ground. The only filtration is take like the sediment from the ground out of the water, and it goes right into the bottle. So it never touches air until you uncap it, take that first delicious sip. Learn more where you can buy it, great retailers or online, EVAMOR, Evermore.com.
All right, it is a Wednesday edition of AFR. Of course, brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Musso in for Moscona. One more thing, just selfishly, with the Anthony Ianson and everything like that. He's in the Red Sox organization, so that makes me very happy, and I think they should just go ahead and call him up too. Starting pitching hadn't necessarily been their problem, but, Connolly early, maybe a little arm soreness last night opens the door for Anthony Ianson. I'm here for that. They should also call up Franklin Arias, who's the other number one prospect out of Venezuela. But anyway, nobody cares about that. I understand.
I do got one more thing. I was just curious, and Flau'jae Johnson is 5th on the Rookie of the Year ladder to win it for the 2026 WNBA season. So she's 5th.
Hey.
And she's currently averaging 13, 5, and 3 with 1 steal. She's had a really, really good back-to-back games. She had 24, 11, and 4 last game, and the time before that, 28, 9, and 2. So she's scoring, so hopefully she kind of moves up in that ladder and makes her way to the Rookie of the Year.
She's had a great rookie season. We've been following a little bit in Tigers in the Pros, and it's not just her either, man. Like Anissa Morrow, she might still be leading the WNBA in double-doubles. I know she was like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, Angel Reese.
She's an automatic.
Yeah, I mean, Angel Reese is still doing Angel Reese things over there and up there in the WNBA too. So I mean, look, ladies are showing out too, man.
Hey,
that's
hopefully
awesome.
We'll see more Tigers, in the following years if Kamoki continues to recruit well and LSU continues to play well.
Oh yeah, Michaela Williams will be up there pretty soon as well in the WNBA, making waves and making headlines.
Did you see the 3v3 USA?
She hit the game-winning shot. I did.
Scoring on like nobody.
We showed it here on the show during Tigers in the Pros one day. That was awesome, man. So. You love to see the former Tigers go on and do great things. And there's obviously Plenty of them doing that, and that's just such a great recruiting tool, obviously, for LSU across multiple sports.
Yes, definitely.
Grab a break here. Sports Center will get you caught up on national headlines. When we get back, excited about this conversation. Pete Nako spoke to a lot of Power 4 general managers about the spending that happened in NIL and high school recruiting here in June. And there's some really interesting tidbits about some LSU targets as well. And numbers were named throughout this entire piece. We'll really break that open and start to break it down next after Sports Center here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
People think it's all about game day, but the real work happens in the off season, and we need a healthcare team
that works as hard as we do.
At FML Health, our Lay of the Lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
We trust the lake.
I've been in banking for over 35 years. I usually start about 7:30 in the morning, and I usually leave somewhere around 5, or if customers need me to meet them at their house or their business places, I don't mind going after hours. I have done churches, subdivisions, retail centers, hospitals.
I'm Christine Lisi. Busy day for the Lakers as they begin rebuilding their roster after LeBron James's exit. Acquired center Walker Kessler from the Jazz in a sign and trade. LA sending picks to Utah and will sign Kessler to 4 years, $130 million. He is the A-list center Luka Doncic asked the Lakers for, notes ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
So you look at the upgrade and how he fits alongside Luka Doncic. I think they couldn't have done better in getting, a guy they could actually acquire who will fit alongside him. Scouts I've talked to today who say, listen, Luka is going to be perfect with Walker Kessler. He's going to roll off of those screens. He's going to dunk. He's going to protect their backside on the rim.
Lakers also agreed on free agent deals with guards Quentin Grimes and Colin Sexton. Day one NHL free agency, Maple Leafs with a major move. They signed two-time Stanley Cup champ goalie Sergei Bobrovsky, 3 years, $21 million. Team USA faces Bosnia and Herzegovina, round of 32 at the World Cup tonight. Harry Kane scored twice, broke Pele's all-time World Cup goals record. England beat Congo DR 2-1.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Keep your career moving forward with growth opportunities, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces. Go to careers.progressive.com and apply today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
Off and running, hour number 3 here on a Wednesday edition of After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com. Musso in for Moscona, Braxton Rizzuto, Cassie Spazzali along for the ride, and glad you're along for the ride as well here as we get set to wrap up a hump day edition of AFR, but a great show so far and still plenty more to come. There's been a change in the Saints' odds here this offseason. They're getting a lot of backing on one particular future bet. I want to kick that around and talk about that and give you some thoughts, kind of tie in all the Saints conversations we've had together around that one topic. We'll do that here in the next segment. But first, I've been really excited to talk about this piece from Pete Nakos all day long. So June in recruiting is official visit month, right? You have the 4 weeks, all these high ticket, highly rated, highly priced high school prospects onto campus. I mean, you remember we had the weekly conversations here. LSU's got 4 or 5 stars on campus. LSU's got this. Like it's just, and it's like that all over the country. Obviously, that part's not new. The new part is the NIL and the spending that is going into that, specifically in the month of June. And Pete Nakos today had an article at On3 titled "Inside the Most Expensive June Yet in High School Football Recruiting." And for this, Nakos and On3 surveyed general managers, agents, and NIL collectives across the Power 4 to talk about the top spenders, top earners, flips, all of that. And there is some great quotes in here from these GMs, these Power 4 GMs, the agents, just collective sources, all that were given anonymity to talk about this on a multitude of different topics, with LSU connections, SEC connections, and kind of how it really ties into Lane Kiffin and Billy Glasscock and their approach to what they're doing in recruiting. And I know we've had that conversation here plenty, but a lot of what we're about to go through kind of really drives that home. Let's start just here. When you talk about the market that GMs, agents, players, coaches, that they're all dealing with right now. While the price tag and all that for 5 stars hasn't really changed, 4 stars has. This is a quote from an anonymous SEC general manager. Quote, "It feels like $350,000 was the starting price for a low 4-star this year. We've reached the period where everyone has an agent. There are no layups anymore in high school recruiting. Nothing is even reasonably priced." I mean, low 4-star, starting price $350,000. Let's start with a couple more LSU notes here before we kind of get into it, maybe a little bit more bigger picture. 2 flip targets for LSU were named in this piece, and numbers were associated with it. Obviously, one of them is Easton Royal. Of course, he's being courted by LSU Florida. We had Shea Dixon with us, obviously, earlier in the show, and Shea went through it, said, still believe that Easton Royal ends up in LSU's class. They sign him, all of those things. He's a difference maker. We know that. 5-star, number 1 wide receiver in the country, out of Brother Martin in New Orleans. We know all about Easton Royal. He's visited LSU multiple times, unofficially and obviously official, still committed to Texas, but that is not solid. Shea also added that you could see a decision, a flip from Easton Royal this month. Well, sources told On3 and Pete Nakos that Florida and LSU are both willing to pay north of $1.2 million to flip Royal. Quote, it's anywhere from $1.2 million to $2 million, a source involved in the recruitment said. $1.2 to $2 million for Easton Royal. How about Jalen Brewster? We talked about Brewster with Shea Dixon as well. And that nothing's really imminent there. Like, wouldn't expect anything today. But maybe next couple of weeks, you do get an announcement from Brewster, whether he's sticking with Texas Tech or flipping, most likely to LSU, which seems to be the team that's pushed the most smoke. Steve Wiltfong had the article at On3 today where he had Brewster's family on the record, and his dad, Jalen Brewster's father, raved about Ed Ogeron. In fact, a source involved with the recruitment spoke to Pete Nakos and said, quote, Ed Ogeron has made some real waves in that recruitment to get LSU involved with Brewster, end quote. Shea also made it a point when he was here earlier talking about Brewster that LSU will be more than competitive with Texas Tech when it comes to money. So for what it's worth, in speaking to the anonymous sources, GMs, agents, all of that, Nakos writes in this piece that Brewster right now is set to make roughly $1 million at Texas Tech, but the offers are pushing 1.5 to flip him. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking at for number 1 players in their position. Again, you look at Easton Royal, 1.2 to $2 million. Brewster, number 1 player in the country according to Rivals, 1.5. Because they're difference makers. Because those guys are coming in to start and play immediately for you. And it's fun to think about, isn't it? It's fun to think about Easton Royal in Lane Kiffin's offense year 1 as a freshman. It's fun to think about Jalen Brewster playing on the same defensive line as Richard Anderson and Lamar Brown, who was the number 1 player in the country a year ago. You got a long way to go so you can actually kind of get all that done still, but that's the numbers that you're looking at. One other thing that's been really interesting has been LSU's approach to offensive linemen. You just saw Albert Simeon go up to Notre Dame, a guy from Louisiana. And this quote really stuck with me about the offensive line class. So one general manager, he highlighted the sentiment that the market has gone up for offensive linemen in this class. And the reason why is because there's a lack of depth. So the highly rated guys are obviously going to get more because of the lack of depth, but that also trickles down to some of the players where the talent isn't necessarily matching the financial ask, but because the market has been reset, it's still there. How about this quote from a Big Ten source? Quote, this is about offensive linemen. A guy who was making $200,000 last year is making $1 million this year, all because they just stink. I think people are going to get really burned. So when you look at LSU and the way they've treated offensive linemen in this class, and they have been more than happy to take offensive linemen in the transfer portal, Jordan Seaton, Alio Ba, we know all the names they did there and paid high dollar. And when you look at LSU here in the recruiting class aspect of this, you've got 2 offensive linemen committed in Amaziah Siale and Terrence Smith. They have really picked their spots in a class that's not deep and have done their best to find guys that they believe in, that they know they can develop, that can come here for multiple years, to where they aren't the ones paying $1 million to a guy who made $200K a year ago and end up getting burned. That quote, I mean, if that doesn't just drive home how locked in they are over there in this thing and in this era, I don't really know what else will. That Big Ten source said they're all bad. He said, no, he said because they all stink. And you're going to see guys take a risk, teams take risks, because they have to have offensive linemen in their class. They're going to end up overpaying and get really burnt. That also plays into something else. And I want to get to Texas A&M here too in a moment. That also plays into something else here. That this was an SEC front office staffer, is how he was named. He noted that what was promised in June might not actually be what's getting back to these players come November, when all the rev share and whatnot and the revenue sharing contracts and the third party all actually come to fruition. Quote, with the numbers being thrown around, these deals are not going to be all rev share. So depending on how people are structuring third party deals, we're going to get to November and people are going to see some stuff in writing and have a panic attack. And you know what that reminded me of when I read that? And forgive me, I should have pulled this audio. This was when Lane Kiffin was on Tyrann Matthews' podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he was asked about their approach in recruiting. And he said, you know what you see is what you get. We're just ourselves. We go in there, we pitch them what they're going to do. We don't promise anything. And Lane Kiffin even said, because often it's a thing in recruiting where you get there and you see all this stuff in June, and then you actually get there in the fall, and it's not at all what you were told. So they don't do any of it. And there's an SEC front office staffer telling you that some of these third-party deals, some of the rev share might not all come to fruition for these kids when they actually get into school. And you know what? That's one reason kids enter the transfer portal too. Lastly, let's touch on Texas A&M, because they are an incredibly interesting test case here, because they are the leading spender in recruiting right now. Like, everyone that was quoted in this article about A&M said as much. Here, 7 Power 4 general managers told On3 they believe A&M's 2027 class is well north of the $10 million mark. This is a quote from an SEC general manager. Quote, Texas A&M is spending a S-ton, easily $10 million. We're probably anywhere from $5 to $7 million. Another SEC general manager said, quote, they've got some really good players. Rankings aside, we liked a lot of the guys they're taking. They took some freaking great players. Elko's a damn good coach. This isn't going to be Jimbo Fisher all over again. Not that Jimbo isn't a good coach. Elko's at a different point in his career. And that's the thing that's intriguing with this, because I think everyone looks at it and they go, man, we've seen A&M do this. They had the number 1 class with Jimbo. They paid all those players. They set the record for 5 stars, all of that. And then they were terrible, and all those kids took the money and left after year 1. And it's easy to look at this and go, same thing's going to happen. But that's what makes this such an interesting test case, is Mike Elko and how great of a coach and the relationships that he's able to build. And that was noted here in this piece as well, that it's not just about the money over at A&M right now. And again, these are people within the industry and from other teams. They talked about Mark Matthews, a 5-star offensive tackle. He's going to make over $1 million at A&M. Multiple sources confirmed that he turned down a bigger offer at Miami to go to A&M. That's what makes this fascinating for them. The other interesting thing is one general manager And one SEC general manager also said, and by the way, it's noted, one SEC general manager with a top 20 class told On3 they believe it's necessary to spend $7 to $8 million to put together a top 25 class. So that gives you an idea, really, of where all those teams are. While A&M's at the top with $10 million, you look down the top 25, and it's probably going to be somewhere between 7 and 8. And LSU's included in that. It just further underscores, again, like with the offensive linemen, how well LSU is doing at allocating their funds and able to put this together. Like, they're going to pay for Easton Royal. They'll pay for Jalen Brewster. Because those guys are going to come in and be difference makers for them. Quality over quantity is really what you're going to see this become. A Big Ten GM even mentioned that as well in this piece. But it's fascinating to look at the different ways multiple teams, multiple programs are going about this. And it's fascinating to look at the different ways teams are spending and allocating. The last thing is, shocker, teams are using basically like signing bonuses and multi-year deals to get players to shut down their recruitment. I just found this interesting. A Big Ten general manager said, quote, "I had Notre Dame pay to shut down a Target's recruitment recently, upping their deal from $400,000 to $450,000 just to get a commit and beat us." Recruiting has always been a dirty and cutthroat game. This has only made it even more. $50K extra just to take this recruit from the Big Ten school and get him to shut down. Wild. But there's multiple different approaches, and this piece outlined them great. LSU's in one corner. You can take Texas A&M and put them in another, but it's not just them. But going through this, hearing those quotes, especially about the offensive line, and that really gives me confidence for how LSU, Lane Kiffin, Billy Glasscock, and that whole crew over there are putting together this high school class and how they're attacking high school recruiting as a whole. Really encouraging for the future of LSU football. All right, we're going to grab a break. Went a little long there. We'll come back on the other side. An interesting odds change for the Saints when it comes to a future for them in the 2026 season. We'll talk about that next here on AFR.
After further review.
Let's Rev, R-E-V, letsrev.com, letsrev.com. You ever just get super frustrated at super slow internet? Oh, we've all been there, man. The little spinning wheel, slamming your keyboard or your mouse, pounding the desk because it's so frustrating. Your internet's so slow. Storm comes, knocks the power out, knocks the internet out, knocks the cable out. You're so frustrated. Maybe that's just me because I get kind of angry about things. But it's annoying. Nobody wants that to happen. Rev can help. They're local and 5 gigs, lightning fast speeds, and backed by an all-fiber network. Fiber. It's buried under the ground. I mean, you don't have to worry about a storm coming knocking the power lines down. Let's Rev. Listen, more than 70,000 Louisiana homeowners and business owners trust Rev. You should as well. R-E-V. 90 years of local experience. Let'sRev.com. Let'sRev.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at ReliefWindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
My name is Mike Krumholt, and I've been with First American Bank for 4 years. What makes First American Bank special is we're able to offer all the products and services that any other big bank can offer. What sets us apart is being able to give that small town feel that someone can pick up the phone and they can talk to someone or stop by the branch and get excellent customer service.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Lockmeyer, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmeyer, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. No, the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Love telling you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com. That's Arco Power Systems. We talk about generators a lot in Louisiana, especially all along the Gulf Coast, where you're sort of in this storm belt right here in the Gulf Coast. Well, of course, a lot of people have home standby generators. When we talk about Arco Power Systems, these are not home standby generators. This is industrial generator power. This is for your business. I mean, just think about it. When the power goes out, be it a hurricane, an ice storm, snow like we had last year, power goes out. What do you do with your business? Well, being offline is not an option. That's why you need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. Just look at all the locations. Baton Rouge, Bossier, Harvey, Lake Charles, Mandeville, Mobile, LaPorte, Texas, San Antonio, Little Rock, Houston, Dallas. They're everywhere. So if you're a business and you need standby power for your business, you need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com.
All right, we've been sprinkling in a lot of New Orleans Saints talk today. And a lot of it centers around their chances to win the NFC South. I kind of want to tie all that together here in this segment. And the thing that really got me thinking about that is a change in the New Orleans Saints odds for their win total. So the Saints win total opened 7.5. It was a DraftKings. It was even money. The over on the Saints the over on the Saints win total at DraftKings when it opened in February was even money, 7.5. By June 1st, minus $1.15. Now here on July 1st, it is minus $1.20. There is a lot of money coming in on the Saints over their win total. That's why earlier when we discussed, Ben Solak earlier today at ESPN, he had his bold prediction piece, 10 bold predictions for the 2026 season. And one of them was the Saints would win the division. And I'm like, it's not actually that bold of a prediction anymore because it feels like a lot of people are going that direction. Definitely the betting public. We could talk if that's a good thing or a bad thing for the New Orleans Saints. If you're wondering, for what it's worth, in the last 5 seasons, the Saints have gone under their win total 3 times. The Saints win total in the last 5 years is 1-3-1. So they had a push in there in 2021. So, betting-wise, statistically, it would tell you no. But if the Saints are going to win the division, it would stand to reason they have to go over their win total. 8 wins, won the division a year ago. Over 7.5 would be 8 wins. And there's a lot of people backing that here, so much that it's gone from even money back in February to minus $1.20 here on July 1st. So 6 months' time. So why? Why is the love there for the New Orleans Saints? Well, I would tell you, just from a betting public standpoint, the love is probably there for the New Orleans Saints because, well, Tyler Shuck, he's great, right? Tyler Shuck's going to be fantastic. He's going to take that next step. Jordan Tyson was drafted there. All of the reasons you're seeing in like the public eye. For me, why I think it's really going to be realistic for the New Orleans Saints, yes, one of the reasons is Tyler Shuck. I expect the offense to take a really big jump this year. I do. I love the pieces they surrounded him with. I think you're going to run the football better behind a much better offensive line. You're going to need guys to stay healthy up there, but you feel really good about 4 of your 5 offensive linemen now. You've added A-Chain. It certainly seems like Alvin Kamara is going to be part of this team in some capacity for part of the year. So you feel good there. You spend 3 draft picks on wide receivers, including your top 10 pick, your first round pick on Jordan Tyson. You've really set that unit up for success, and they showed strides down the stretch of last year when they had nobody except Juwan Johnson, Chris Olave, and Tyler Shuck on the team. That's what it felt like. Audric Estime had a nice couple of games as well. So yes, I think that's going to happen. Defense, I have my concerns about. I have my concerns about this team replacing Demario Davis. He played over 1,000 snaps for you a year ago. I have my concerns about this team replacing Alontae Taylor, who also played 1,000 snaps for you over a year ago. Does it sound like Jonas Sanker has really taken a hold of that Alontae Taylor role, that star position? It does. And do I think that could be pretty seamless? I do, because you still have some really good options on the back end to play your deep safety positions. Like, I like that aspect. But it's going to take multiple linebackers to get close to replicating the production that Demario Davis gave you. Nonetheless, that's not even counting his leadership ability. Having Cam Jordan back goes a long way to that, but Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, both great leaders, different people. I really value that stuff. I think that matters. When that face that you've been able to look at in that defensive huddle when things aren't going well, who can steady things, both with his leadership and production, when that's gone, who's going to be that guy? It's easy to say Cam Jordan, but Cam Jordan's not going to be out there for every snap. We know that. That does concern me, and by the way, I still think you're bad at cornerback. So pass rush is going to be key too. The defense bothers me because while they were great down the stretch, they were awful. They were awful early in the year. You look at the Saints' schedule from earlier in the year in 2025 when they were playing teams, like when they were playing contenders. You gave up 44 to Seattle, 31 to the Bills, 34 to the Rams, 26 to Chicago. They weren't good. Only when you played Carolina and the Jets, the Falcons, did you see 17-6, 17. Like, that matters. So I do. I have my concerns there with the Saints defense. Special teams I'm very encouraged by. And I think that could be a real difference maker for the Saints winning the division in 2026. They were abysmal on special teams a year ago. It cost you games. We don't need to go through all of them again. But Seattle, you were down 20-0 in a blink, largely due to special teams. Week 18 game against Atlanta. You missed a key field goal in the first half. You end up losing that game by 2 points. Now, that got you your fourth place schedule, which we're going to get to. But that matters. Your first game against Atlanta, if Blake Grupe hits his first 2 field goals, you're tied going into the fourth quarter. Instead, you lose by 2 touchdowns. But I think you're going to be better. I like the addition of Ryan Wright at punter. I like that you have multiple options at returner with the addition of Barryon Brown and what you saw from Mason Tipton down the stretch. I like that Anthony Jennings and Tyree Wilson are trying to really take a role on special teams. I think you're going to be better there. And then you brought in Tanner Brown, who's just kicking 60-yarders left and right in the UFL on the way to a championship season there, in on a 2-year contract to complete with Charlie Smith. I really think you're going to be much improved in special teams, which is good because, again, that cost you games a year ago. And I think that's really kind of the hidden gem here for New Orleans when you talk about what could put them over the top for a division championship. I truly believe that. And then there's the division around you. The NFC South stinks. And you get a fourth place schedule in a bad league. The Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints beat the Carolina Panthers twice last year. Twice. That team won the division. That team was in the playoffs. That team wasn't very good. And now they have to play a first place schedule. I like how that works out on paper for the New Orleans Saints, right? I like that the Panthers have to play the Bears and the Eagles and the Packers and Denver and Baltimore and Cincinnati and Seattle. I love that. I think that's great for the Saints' chances to win the division. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who lost key veteran and leaders off their team and are still old in some areas, have a lot of nice young weapons, but you're going to be counting on rookies to replace some of your veterans this year, and you're playing a second place schedule. I like that. And Todd Bowles is probably on the hot seat. You know, that makes me happy. Because Tampa Bay is the favorite to win the division, and the Saints are right behind them. Another reason it's really not a bold prediction. They have the second best odds to win the division. But that's encouraging to me. And I think the Falcons are actually just going to stink. Because I don't really think Tua is any good, and if they have to play Michael Penix, I think that's going to go horrible as well. So, if you're asking me who I think is going to finish last in the league, I actually think Atlanta's going to finish last in the league. I don't think the Falcons are going to be very good. All that around them, I think the Saints are going to improve. And the biggest question I actually have is their defense. Which defense was the real defense? Your first half of the year, your second half of the year? That question is going to have to be answered pretty early on this year if you're the New Orleans Saints, because you got to get off to a good start. And you open with back-to-back road games at Detroit and at Baltimore. We're going to get an answer there pretty quick. But can the Saints win the division? Absolutely. Is that a fair expectation? Yes. Should that be the expectation? Honestly, I think so. And the betting public is backing that with the win total. And you've got national analysts now predicting it as well. That's a fair expectation for the New Orleans Saints, is a NFC South division title and a return to the playoffs for the first time since Sean Payton was your coach. All right, we're going to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. World Cup, USA and Bosnia. Give you a quick, brief thumbnail preview on that before we get to Otter Locks as well. Stick around. It's AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham. Mid-City on Don Moore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. You know those 4 locations, and what an awesome time to get by Clegg's Nursery because they still have every single day shipments of flowers coming in, plants, trees, shrubs. You want to beautify the exterior of your home. You want to add that pop of color to your flower bed, to your patio pots. Maybe you got unwanted pests like ants or snakes or mosquitoes, wasps. They can help you take care of all of them. Maybe you got weeds coming up in your lawn. You want to get rid of that. Maybe you got dead spots in your lawn. The horticulturists, the professionals at Clegg's Nursery have the knowledge, the know-how, the expertise, and all the products you need to win Yard of the Month every month for your whole life. Guaranteed. Actually, I can't back that up. You have to do some of the work, too. It's Clegg's Nursery.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Here on the Gulf Coast, a wave says a lot. It says hello. It says thanks. It says we care. Shouldn't banking feel the same way? A friendly wave. A familiar face. Backed by all the convenient tools you need to make banking a breeze. We're Gulf Coast Bank and Trust. Give us a wave and coast into better banking.
This is what you're looking for.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, I mean, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having, but they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. WilliamsonEye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
All right. The United States of America U.S. Men's National Team World Cup, round of 32 tonight. They'll take on Bosnia-Herzegovina. The U.S. is a pretty sizable favorite in this game, minus 185 on the money line. It opened at minus 185. They're now minus 285. So the United States minus 285 to win this game. Spread even favored by a goal and a half against the Bosnians. For what it's worth, also they'll play the winner of Belgium and Senegal, which is now in the 121st minute. And those 2 teams are tied at 2. It looks like it's been a fantastic game. But the United States and the Bosnians, that'll be at 7 p.m. on Fox. I will be tuned in. I mean, this to me is really when the World Cup gets fun, when it's actually win or go home, and it's not the group play. Not the group play doesn't matter. Obviously it does. And look, the United States was awesome in their group, won it after 2 games. I mean, the third game against Turkey really didn't even matter. And the U.S. they were dominant. I mean, they scored over 2.5. They averaged over 2.5 goals scored. They averaged a goal differential of 1.3 en route to where the game 3 in the group against Turkey didn't even matter, and they just rested everybody and they lost. That was all with a loss. They've done great at possession as well, and they're a huge favorite in this game. Now, obviously, we already saw Paraguay, take down Germany. You've seen upsets in this thing, so it's not a foregone conclusion. And Taylor Twellman, of course, soccer analyst, you see him all over ESPN. He played for the United States men's national team. He was on Rich Eisen earlier and talked about where Bosnia can give the United States some trouble.
This is the team that knocked Italy out of the World Cup playoff, forced Italy to miss their third straight World Cup. This is not an easy out. Are they favored? Absolutely. They're going to be better tactically than Paraguay. They're going to be more astute individually within the collective process. And what I mean by that, each individual will do his job for the collective to really work. They're going to frustrate the United States. They're not going to be as ugly as Australia played. When you look at their emotional competence in this will be the first knockout stage game for Bosnia. That is very interesting for them on how to deal with that. The other part to this is when they walk out onto the field and they see all red, white, and blue, their same colors, and yet all red, white, and blue are rooting for the United States. How do they deal with that? I think the first 25, 30 minutes is massive for the United States. And I think if they get an early goal, they blow the doors off the building.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about the emotional aspect of it with it being their first knockout game and the United States crowd. But sometimes that fuels teams like that, man. That fuels underdogs. They want to go out there and prove teams wrong and whatnot. It's also interesting just the success the United States has had in this World Cup. It's been one of their best runs. Obviously, I mean, this was the first time since 2010 and 1930, so just the third time ever that the United States men's national team has won back-to-back games in the World Cup. So you're looking at a pretty historic run, and Twellman continued on Rich Eisen saying that, well, you know what, it actually could be the greatest run in United States history in the World Cup, potentially.
You just need to take care of business. If you beat Bosnia in a similar type of fashion, not the scoreline, but fashion that you beat Paraguay in, momentum builds. And if you play Senegal or Belgium, now all of a sudden that home field in Seattle becomes that much greater. And so now there's belief within the group. And then you get to the quarterfinal and you're playing against Spain, where everyone in the world thinks you're losing that game. That is sometimes when Americans are at their best. Yeah. And that's a position you want to be in. At home, as the biggest underdog in World Cup history, Rich, I'll take that. But you got to win 2 games to get there, and they've got a big one tomorrow night.
There you go. I mean, you win 2 games, and he's telling you right there, you match up with Spain. It's the biggest matchup in the history of United States men's soccer. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So I'll be tuned in 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock on Fox against Bosnia-Herzegovina, United States, their first knockout round game, the round of 32 here in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Should be some fascinating theater, man. United States, again, a minus 285 favorite on the money line tonight against the Bosnians. All right, we're about to grab a break, but first,
brought to you by Parish Construction Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. That's me and Terrio and Richard Tilley and Joe Morales and Trent Davis and our whole staff. And we appreciate everyone so much who's giving us the opportunity. Our commercial roofing manager, Matt Pearson, sent us all a text that we were just awarded a large commercial roofing job today, and they heard us talking about it. And yes, of course, at your home, any roof repair, replacement, we love to help you out. We can install gutters for you. We do soft wash, do all of it. But I want to remind you that we are a commercial roofing company as well. So if your commercial building needs a new roof or repair, you're having any issues whatsoever, we have the best guy. We went and scoured the world and found Matt Pearson in Florida, and we brought him to Baton Rouge. I'm convinced there's not a soul alive that knows more about commercial roofing than Matt Pearson. So if your commercial building is having any roof issues, roof repair, replacement, or you just need options, trust me, have a conversation with Matt Pearson. We'd love to help you out. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com.
All right, rolling along here, a Wednesday edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Musso in for Moscona. Just running up here on the end of the show. Really only have one thing left to do. That's Otter Locks. We'll get to that in the next segment. Jimmy sent his picks in via voice memo today. So we'll let you actually hear from the Otter himself and give out his picks. We'll see if he has a play on the United States and Bosnia-Herzegovina here tonight in the World Cup. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Major League Baseball action from Jimmy and all of those things certainly as well. So we'll get to Otter Locks next here as we wrap up a Wednesday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all 8s. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
People think it's all about game day, but the real work happens in the off season. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FML Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
We trust the lake.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Need a steel building? Proform Steel. I want you to remember the name. Why use Proform Steel? Well, I got tons of reasons. Here's a few. How about the lead times? 6 to 8 weeks from signed contract out the door. They'll get it to you quicker. Free delivery on every building. You buy it from them, they'll deliver it for free. It's Proform Steel. You can even order online. You can pick the style, size, color, doors, submit the form, get a call back the same day. And at Proform Steel, they use American-made materials on everything. No exceptions. It's Proform Steel. Maybe you need a shed in your backyard. Maybe we're talking about a big industrial facility. Need a steel building? You want Proform Steel. Make sure you call Brandon Golson, you know the name, at Proform Steel. Check them out, Proform Steel.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Bringing a Wednesday edition of AFR to a close here, of course. There's only one real way to do that. We'll do that with some Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
So, weren't able to get Otter on the phone today, but he did send us in a voice memo. Quick recap, about a 500 night for Otter on Tuesday. Hit Braxton, keep that what we learned bet underneath me there. About a 500 night for the Otter. He went 3-2 on his baseball picks. He lost the soccer picks. So we're looking to looking for a winning night, but 500, no blood, right? No blood there for the Otter. So he gave us his picks earlier today via voice memo. We'll let the Otter take it away.
All right, time for Otter Locks for this Wednesday.
Kind of juiced out last night, 3-3, monster 5-0 Monday. Let's try and get this hump day on the right way. You know, we love Paul Skeens around here, but man, his velo is down considerably. Not only that, but the Pirates have lost his last 8 starts. Philadelphia is no place to get out of a pitching slump. They are hitting the baseball right now, making up a lot of ground in the National League East with the Atlanta Braves. The Braves, one of the worst records in major leagues in the month of June as we start this first day in July. Zach Wheeler is the third start back since off the IL. We're going to lay the 44 with the Phillies at home against the struggling Skeens. Tampa Bay minus 140 on the road against Kansas City. We had them. We had them Monday night. They won. They won last night as well. They're looking for a sweep today. They have turned a 3.5 game deficit to a 3-game lead in the AL East. They've won 6 in a row. The Yankees, with their loss this afternoon, have lost 7 in a row. McClanahan is their best pitcher. He's on the road against centenary Zach Lugo. And Tampa Bay will lay minus 140 here. They are on a roll, and the Yankees better be careful because Tampa Bay has one of the lightest July schedules as well. They could really increase upon this lead and increase their cushion in the American League East. The best record in June for Major League Baseball is the Miami Marlins, 20-6 in the month of May. They won their first 2 in Coors Field against Colorado. They have their best pitcher on the mound today in Meyer, and Colorado has one of the worst pitchers in the entire National League, much less on their staff, in Kyle Freeland on the hill for Colorado. We're going to lay the 1.5 against with the hot fish here, minus 109 to reduce that juice. So we'll take the red hot Marlins minus 1.5, minus 109. In the soccer tonight, we can take a U.S. over parlay, which is paying around even money right now at DraftKings, downtown at the Queen and also the at Bally's. Great place to watch the game tonight between the U.S. and Bosnia. U.S. over parlay, basically even money. We're also going to bet the draw. So the draws are very profitable, about 23 units on the positive if you bet the draw in every game. So we hit a draw for plus 500 on Monday night. That was really nice. We're going to take the draw plus 400 tonight. Reason there is that if the U.S. does struggle as a big favorite against Bosnia, this thing could go to extra time and the draw would hit. If they do win, we think they're going to score as they're the aggressor in this one. So somehow, some kind of way Bosnia can slow down the offensive pace for the U.S., maybe it'll go to a draw. That's it for Otter Locks, brought to you by Total Maintenance each and every day. Join their elite membership right now with great money-back savings, TM bucks, that you get for credit for repairs down the road. That's Total Maintenance, 480-0007.
If Otter was actually with us, I'd ask him where he's at tomorrow, but he's, we haven't gotten him on the phone. But anyway, nonetheless, tune in live at lunch tomorrow, 11 to 1 with Charlie and Jimmy. Couple notes there actually from the Otter Locks. The Phillies and the Pirates are underway. That is now coming back. Phillies minus 164, so a touch more juice. Get on it early. That's why we post them on the website there. And the USA over parlay is now coming back minus $1.20. So a little bit more juice there than even money, but still not too bad there on that parlay. So Phillies and maybe watch that Phillies and Pirates game a little bit. See if Pittsburgh doesn't get a lead and that Phillies number comes down a little bit, because as Otters told us that Pirates bullpen is absolutely awful, and that's largely one of the reasons they've lost Paul Skeens' last 8 starts. All right, we're getting set to get out of here, but first, a word from Matt on First South Farm Credit.
We're running about First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, firstsouthfarmcredit.com, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Hey, remember, always encourage you to go to the website, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. If you're a farmer, no doubt you know about First South Farm Credit, because they've been helping farmers buy agriculture land for more than 100 years. But if it's maybe it's that hunting property, maybe it's just your recreational property in Mississippi, maybe you want to go buy a ranch in Montana. They can help you buy land anywhere in the lower 48. Buying land is different than buying a home. You know that. So trust the people who have helped Louisianans buy land for more than 100 years. First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthfarmcredit.com, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. One more time, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit.
All right, that's just about going to do it here for us on a Wednesday edition of AFR. One more day for us this week. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow, 3 to 6. We are off Friday in observance of the 4th of July, 250 years for the United States of America. And what better way to celebrate that than with the U.S. men's national team win tonight in the World Cup against Bosnia. Obviously, we'll be tuning in to that as many of you will. Thank you to Braxton. Thank you to Cassie. Thank you to Shay Dixon, who joined us earlier. If you missed anything from today's show, AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Goff. YouTube channel, AFR LSU, AFR Saints. Podcast, search After Further Review. You can also find the AFR Saints and LSU channels there as well. We're back tomorrow on Thursday, 3 to 6.
AFR.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every